Back, toes, hips. See the rings, hips. And transition. What's up, guys? This is Justin with RX Gymnastics, and today we are going over my favorite skill in all of fitness, the true grip kipping ring muscle up. My goal today is to give you every single skill, drill, and strength that you need to get your very first kipping true grip ring muscle up. We have to start with strength. If you can do these 4 things, you have everything that you need to get your kipping ring muscle up. Strength piece number 1 is making sure that you have the active strength to pull the rings to your face. Generally, we see movements like a ring row that look like this. While a ring row is great for building basic pulling strength, it will not help with your kipping ring muscle up. We want to think of building strength pulling up to this face pull position. We're going to start in a ring row position. The movement of the rings is going to come back toward my ears. The idea is that we want to finish in a field goal position. Another way you can think about it is clean out your ears. Leaning back, palms down, head up, pulling up to your ears and back. Just like any ring row type movement, we can make this movement easier or harder by where our feet are positioned. The further back I go, the easier this movement becomes. The more my feet are forward, the more difficult this movement becomes. A great starting place for you is 10 strong ring face pulls with our feet out pretty far in front. Strength piece number 2. We want to make sure the strength that we are developing has a direct one-to-one translation to the skill we're trying to achieve. We are going to be doing some ring pull-ups, but rather than pulling straight up and down, we are going to put our body into an aggressive arch position, palm down, pull towards our chest. Before we start diving into the skill of the kipping ring muscle up, I believe that we should have 5 arch position ring pull-ups. Starting in a hang, arch position, pulling palms forward, seeing if I can get the rings all the way to my chest. Strength piece number 3 is the ability to do 5 shoulder below ring dips. Doing ring dips where I just hit the top probably isn't enough. We want to make sure that I can get my shoulders below the plane of the rings and still actively press up for multiple reps. Strength piece number 4 is the Russian dip. The ability to go from a support position and transfer into this dip position while pressing out is going to be fundamental for understanding what we need to do for the kipping ring muscle up. To start understanding this drill, I love to be on our toes. We're going to have shoulders behind elbows, rock forward, create pressure on the hands, and then press out into a dip. For us to be secure in this kipping ring muscle up, we do have to get to the ability that we can do it without toes. My mission for you is to be able to do 5 unbroken Russian dips effectively without having your toes come down to the ground. Get this, the kipping ring muscle up becomes so much easier. Before we dive into the drills of the kipping ring muscle up, we must understand the science of the swing. The science of the swing has 3 rules. Rule number 1 is that everything has an equal and opposite reaction. Rule number 2 is I must catch the muscle up at neutral. If I try to catch in front or behind, I'll miss. The final rule is anytime I initiate a transition, it is going to push the rings forward. Let's take all 3 of those rules and see if we can put them together to understand how the kipping ring muscle up works. Remember, I must catch the rings at neutral. But if I go for a transition, it's going to push the rings forward. The only way for me to catch at neutral is for me to create an initiating movement forward so that there's an equal and opposite reaction backwards so that as I initiate my transition, I can catch at neutral. All of these skills and drills that we learned today are going to follow the 3 rules of the science of the swing. Let's start with the basics of body positions. Your body is going to follow your head wherever it goes. If we want to create an arch position, my chin must be up. For me to be in a hollow, my chin must come down. You can probably feel this if you simply lift your head up and feel what the engagement of your back does. Or if you crunch your chin to your chest, how your abs contract into that hollow position. This basic idea is going to be fundamental for putting your body into the correct position during your swing. The first thing that we're going to talk about is how to create this giant arch position in your Kipping Ring Muscle Up. To do this, we're going to go through a series that I call the 2 stand series. For the first set of drills, we're going to bring the bottom of the ring just below chest. The first idea here is to keep my chin up with my hips active while I pull myself from a ring row position all the way up to standing. I'm leaning back. Head goes back, hips open into an arch position, and then we are going to actively pull until I stand. Notice my top position still has the rings by my ears with my eyes looking at the ceiling. If I try to make this a ring row, it's just not going to work. In every drill in this 2 stand series, it's vitally important that we go through a proper face pulling position. For a proper face pull, I need 3 elements. Number 1 is my head up toward the ceiling. Number 2 is my glutes active so we create an arch position. And the final piece is making sure that I am pulling towards my ears with my elbows above my shoulders. Some ways you can think about this face pulling position is I am going to clean out my ears. I am scratching the back of my head, or I just scored a touchdown and got a field goal. Building on the row, we are now going to get our hips involved to what I call the hybrid to stand. Starting in a ring row position, I'm going to break at the hips and have my eyes looking forward. The first movement is going to be my head back, my hips are going to follow, and then we're going to finish with the row, but quick. We think head, hips, pull. Remember, I finish with rings by my ears, glutes squeezed, eyes toward the ceiling. Now we're going to lower the rings. I need the bottom of the ring to the top of your hip. The next phase of this drill is called the dynamic to stand. The rings are lower, and I'm starting with a dead stop position with my hips on the floor. Again, following the same pattern of head, hips, stand, and finish with eyes up. But now let's do it quick. We go head, hips, and pull. If you are not finishing with a pause at the top, glutes squeeze, rings to ears, eyes up to the ceiling, you're doing it wrong. Before we can continue with the 2 stand series, you need to understand the basics of rocking. As much as I love rock and roll, we're actually thinking of rocking as a rocking chair. In your brain, I want you to think of a similar idea to a hollow rock. For this drill, we're going to start laying down with legs in front. All I want you to feel to start is driving your knees to your chest until the only thing on the ground is your shoulder blades. It looks like this. The next step is to understand your finishing position. Our feet are going to be flat and our hips are going to be up as high as possible. If you think your hips are high enough, they're not. Now we're going to put both of these ideas together. I'm going to rock to where my shoulder blades are on the ground and my shins are vertical. We're then going to fire up and over and land in that ending position. I like to think about the old school Donkey Kong game where a barrel's rolling and Mario jumps up and over. During this drill, I'm going to rock back, jump over the barrel, and finish up tall. For this next drill, I need you and I to make a promise. You are not changing anything about what we just learned. The only difference now is I'm starting hanging on the rings. My first movement, I want you to think of that same rocking to your shoulder blades. But now that we're slightly off the ground, we're going to float. It's helpful for me to think about bringing my toes to the rings. Step 1 looks like this. Yes, it really is that simple. Next, we're gonna take that same jump over the barrel idea, but now hanging onto the rings. My toes go back, I jump up and hold with high hips. The goal now is to use the momentum created from that knee drive up and over to see if we can pull to stand. Starting down, legs drive up and to a standing position. Remember, if you're not pausing with eyes up, glute squeeze, ring to your ears, you're doing it wrong. This drill can be tough, but let's make it easier. We're now gonna add an element of what I call the muscle stretch reflex. Starting in a seated position, we're going to reach forward. Let's pretend that there's a string tied from the bottom of the ring to your big toe. To feel the rocking portion, all I want us to do is as soon as the rings move backwards, your feet move with them. Done correctly, the first step should look like this. Rings go back and I float. Now let's take that same thing that we felt on the 90 to stand, but add the reach forward rocking element to this. We call this skill the rock to stand. Reaching forward, toes come back with you, fire. Ooh, wow, too much power. Reaching forward, toes come back, fire, and stand. Remember, eyes at the ceiling, glute squeeze, rings to your ears. I think it's important before we move on to have a deep understanding here. So let's make it harder. By raising the rings, we increase the difficulty of this skill. Now that we know how to stand, let's transition. I think it's valuable to use the bands to understand what it should feel like to both pull and then keep active pressure on the transition. Before we do that, I've got to show you a magic trick. We need to set up a band and ring, and it looks difficult, but if I slide the band through and then loop the band underneath, it effectively puts the band on the ring. Magic! I just need you to feel constant active pressure as we go through this drill. Step 1, see the rings. Step 2, lean back and face pull. While I'm keeping this active pressure on the rings, we are going to follow the rings down as I transition through. If you do this slow, it is going to give you a strong idea of what active pressure should feel like as we get on top of the high rings. We're gonna bring the rings back up to just below chest. What I need to feel now is a row to face pull to transition. Starting in our ring row position, we are going head, hips, face pull, snap down to transition. Make sure you understand this basic idea at a deep level before we get more dynamic. The important things to feel is there's a moment of float before we snap down. I need the rings to create active pressure back before we snap over. I call this the tick, boom. Remember, we're thinking tension down, tick, boom. Now let's get our hips involved. Same idea as the two stand, we're now gonna go into our hybrid position. My hips are closed. I'm going to go head, hips, fire, snap down. Now at speed, we go head, hips, tick, boom. Following the same pattern, we're taking the rings and the bottom of the rings are going to the top of our hips. In our dynamic position, we're going head, hips, transition. At speed, head, hips, don't forget the tick, boom. Another cue that I like as we're moving our way through this series is I need my eyes to see the ceiling and then see the floor with nothing in between. Eyes at the ceiling, hips, floor, nothing in between. Moving on now to the 90 to transition. Remember, my toes come up, fire, and transition. And now finishing with our final floor ring drill is the rock to transition. Understanding this skill low will make the high ring so much easier. But let's make it harder. Just like on the two stand series, we can make this drill more difficult by raising the rings. And if you get great at this drill, let's see if we can raise the rings high enough and catch without feet. Our next two drills are gonna use a box. I love the kipping box transition because if your hips do not open all the way, this drill will not work. Just like the Kipping Ring Muscle Up. If your hips don't open up all the way, it's not gonna work. I always like to start with basics of just the face pull. What we're going to do is create a head back, active hip, and then pull as high as we can toward our face. Just like all the other drills, we think head, hips, face pull, and back. The transition idea is very similar. We want to think active tension, snap down. Don't forget to tick boom. I'm here. We go head, hips, tension, and down. At speed, tick, boom. Another reason I love this drill is because it is self-scalable. The closer the ring is to the box, the more difficult this drill will be. The rings are lower, the drill is harder. We need a stronger head, hip, pull, and transition. Think you can go one more? Don't forget to get your hips involved. Head, hips, transition. This next drill is our first step into the high rings. I love this drill because for some people, it can help you get over that fear of getting over the rings. Just like all the drills we've done, we're gonna start with a face pull. Just like all drills, we're gonna start with the face pull. To set this up correctly, we're gonna hang down, but make sure the rings have an angle backwards. Just like we talked about in the science of the swing. With the rings at a backward angle, I'm gonna have your eyes to the bottom of the rings. We are thinking a violent hip extension, jump, and pull the rings toward your face. Big fire, pull, back down. Now for the tricky part in the transition. We still wanna feel this active tension before we snap over. On this drill, it can be difficult. If you're having trouble getting up and over the rings, feel free to stack plates to a place that you feel comfortable. Remember, rings need to have a backward angle. We're gonna have my eyes on the rings, but this time we're going to jump and transition. Big pull, tension, and over. The cue, see the ceiling, see the floor, can make a big difference here. Let's see it one more time. The swing to box drill is the closest feel that you will get to the Kipping Ring Muscle Up. Let's start with setup. This drill works best with the 20, 24, 30-inch boxes. We want to set the 24-inch box on top of a 20. We need rings set where I am tippy toes just off the ground in a hang. As long as the rings are set correctly, this box setup works for everybody. This drill builds on itself. It starts slow, but every position is important. For this first drill, don't have somebody directly in front of you. We're always gonna start in a dead hang. Gonna move into an L sit, drive back, and sit on the box. In the seated position, it's important that my feet are flat on the box and my hips are below the top. This swing to sit helps you understand all the building mechanics we're doing later. After we swing to the sit position, we are now going to add on this two-stand idea. This should feel very similar to the dynamic two-stand drill we did earlier. Starting in a dead hang, going L sit, swing back, land, feet on top of box, hips below. The next part is just like we did on the low rings, head, hips to stand. If you remember, it looks like this. Head, hips to stand. Let's continue this two-stand idea, but take the swing to sit out. The idea here is that I'm going to go from an L sit, drive back. My toes are going to pass just above the plane of the box. My feet stop here as my hips continue to rise as I face pull into the standing position. Starting in a hang. L sit, drive back, toes, hips to stand. Just like all of our other drills, I want you to finish with rings by your ears, eyes at the ceiling, and glutes squeezed. Now for the transition. Our first step is a swing to sit into a transition. This should feel a lot like the dynamic transition we did earlier. Starting in a hang, L sit, drive back and land here. From this position, we are gonna go head, hips, see the ceiling, see the floor. Make sure you get that good tick, boom. I'm going to go head, hips, transition. Now for the moment of truth. We are taking the two sit portion out and going straight from a swing to a transition. The truth is, if you get excellent at this drill, you have a ring muscle up. Starting in a dead hang, bring toes up to the L sit, drive back, toes, hips, transition. Once you feel absolutely confident in the swing to transition, it's time to take the boxes away. Now is the moment of truth. We're putting everything that we have learned thus far into our Kipping Ring Muscle Up. Some pro tips that help me as I'm doing this movement is we want to make sure we are starting in that true dead hang. No jumping to the rings with this bent arm pull. It will mess the swing up. Starting in a dead hang, we are going to move to an L sit where my toes come in line with my belly button. Then as the heels drive back, I want you to drive the rings forward. As soon as the toes start moving back, your eyes are going to move toward the rings. This is going to set our head into this back position that will put us into the strong arch that we need. Once the toes come to the line of the belly button, they stop. My hips continue up as I do a face pulling position. Remember, as we go through our transition, it will not be all the way back to our face, but a tension idea. Once we feel the tension with full hip extension, we are going to see the ceiling, see the floor. We are going to tick, boom. If we have built the strength and the skill and done the drills and put it all together, this should end up as your first Kipping Ring Muscle Up. Start under the rings. Dead hang. Moving into an L sit. Drive back. See the ring hits? And transition. All you got to do now is dip out. If this video helped you get your very first Kipping Ring Muscle Up, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.